So hello everybody, this is Jabez from Pragmatic Podcast, and today we are doing an interview with cooperation with RPRECORDS. And our special guest today is Derrick Green from Spultura.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for making this interview possible. Yeah. Hey, as a first question, I want to ask you, what is basically your relationship to Czech Republic?
My relationship to Czech Republic is I have a son who was born in Prague. He's Czech citizen, so I spent some time here, and that's my strongest connection, absolutely.
Yeah, so basically the connection is family to Czech Republic.
Right.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think I heard that the guitar player from Kelly Jordy, I think he has a Czech wife too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's kind of few musicians in the world who
there are a few.
Yeah.
But it's a very special place for me. It's always great to come here. Especially because I get to see my son, but also to play music, and it's always great shows, like incredible shows.
Yeah. It's awesome to have you here. You with your band. Hey, the question that I have about Spultura, of course, everybody knows that Spultura have like the first phase with Max Cavalera, but my kind of interested, how basically Spultura approached you as possibly a lead singer, and how did you kind of went through the process, kind of maybe fitting in Max Cavalera's shoes, and starting touring the world, maybe this process that happened in 97, 98.
Yeah, it happened quite some time ago. I was living in New York City, and I'd always played in heavy bands, hardcore or punk rock, but never metal. And I was approached by a person from the record label who told me that their singer had left. I didn't know anything about that, and they were looking for a new singer, and they had one song with no vocals on it. So they were giving this to different people all around the world who could try out and do something with that song. And so I got it, and I decided I would try and do something with the song. The person from the label felt that they needed somebody different. It would be kind of silly to try to find a duplicate, because there really couldn't be a duplicate. So he felt that they should start with somebody very fresh or different. And so then I gave them my version of the song, which is called Choke, which ended up on the first album that we did together, on the Against album. And it was a process of waiting. I waited for them to get back to me. They asked me to come to Brazil to meet each other and to rehearse.
They had like more people in the audition for
They
that?
did. They had other people before they were living in the U.S.
Yeah.
But when I sent them the demo, they were in the transition of moving back to Brazil.
Oh.
Before they were living, part of them were living in Arizona, and Igor, the drummer, he was living in San Diego. Yeah. And so they decided that they wanted to move back to Brazil. And so that's where I did my audition in Brazil for 2 weeks. I went there and got to meet everyone. I never met them before. I knew some of the albums from Arise onwards, but I wasn't fanatical fan. Like I didn't know everything about them. But
Spultura was kind of familiar band.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like
you weren't like hardcore
fan.
I
didn't know. Like if I saw them walking down the street, I wouldn't know who was who.
Yeah.
So it was exciting, and they were really looking for someone to be a part of the band, the creative process and everything. And that's what really intrigued me, because I wanted to be a part of a band, to give my views or my opinions of songs and writing and everything. And then I came back to New York, and I heard later on that they wanted me to come back to start working on the new album. So it was crazy. Everything was really happening very fast and quickly. I didn't realize what I was getting into, or how big the band actually were, because at the time the internet wasn't something that was very big. Not everyone had access to the internet, so I couldn't go online at that point and see what it was. I mean, I had to go to the library, I remember, to get a book about Brazil to really understand like what's going on with Brazil. I'm going to go there. So it was that long ago. So going to Brazil and seeing how people react to them, and then traveling, because we did an entire like promo tour, traveling around, just talking radio, photos everywhere around the world. And
you basically, after album Against, you basically went like on a worldwide tour, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's gotta be, you know, I'm a musician also, but it's really like crazy to imagine that you are basically, you are a musician as you know yourself, and few months after that, you are basically fucking touring the world. Right.
So for me, you know, people had a relationship to the band from the past. Their own relationship, you know, in their own minds. For me, I didn't. None of their past really had a reflection on me. I was so concerned about the present. Yeah. You know, I was like, I need to go on stage now and perform and do these songs, new songs, old songs. Just to, you know, for me, my head was there. I wasn't thinking about, what do you think about, you know, replace. I was like, this is now.
You basically had blind spots.
So it was just like, this is my focus, you know, this is reality to me. So it was a process. I knew it would take a long time to get connected with each other, you know, to travel, to get to know each other, to get comfortable in writing, everything. So it was really something, a process that I was ready to take on, you know.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, also, no, that's not my fault. That's somebody else. Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, these things have happened in live interviews, you know. Let's move on to your last release, which is a quarter album. How did you? Because. What's kind of crazy to me, you basically released that album on, I think, February 2nd, basically before all of the fucking COVID restrictions hit, and you weren't be able to tour that album. How did you basically, I don't want to say choose this situation, but
right. I mean,
how did you play with these, you know, bad cards?
I mean, it was dealt to everyone, you know, the situation, so it was really out of our hands. But we felt we wanted to stay connected because we worked so hard on the album and people were waiting for it. So we decided to create like this type of thing online where it was like, we're gonna jam together once a week, and we'll do that online, each person in their own home. I was in LA, the other guys were in Brazil, and we were just started playing Sepultura songs. Then we started to invite people to jam with those Sepultura songs, friends of ours from other bands. Then we started to invite guests.
Like basically like online jamming?
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, oh, let's get Scotty in to play this part, you know, or to play Cutthroat, a song that we do. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. So Scotty is in his home, I'm in my home, you know. And we started doing that with different friends that we have. And then we started to invite different organizations that we wanted to help and get money to raise money for. So it grew into something very big, and we were calling it Sepultura, which is Sepultura Wednesdays. So every Wednesday we would have this special guest, not only musicians, but we'd also talk with skaters and different organizations. It was just like really
people from the culture.
Yes, exactly. And it really helped a lot of people throughout the pandemic. It helped ourselves as far as staying connected with fans and also with the band.
Yeah, awesome. And how is it right now, finally touring that record?
It's
finally,
it's
right?
mind-blowing. I mean, what's great is that people had time to really listen to it. So they know the songs when we play them. They're excited about hearing it. And it's a challenge to play those new songs because it was tough, you know. But it's a lot of fun, and seeing the reaction, and I'm super stoked. You know, it's the best reaction that I've had since I've been in the band for an album. Like, it's the most hyped up, and I felt that we really grew into that. You know, we evolved. Like, we're each album like really moving into this area that we're at now. So it feels great.
What is basically the story behind the album? Because I think I read somewhere that is basically somehow numerologically divided or something. I didn't read it all through because I actually wanted to ask you and have basically your explanation about that.
Well, Andreas came up, our guitarist came up with the concept, and he was really getting into numerology and the idea of 4. You know, where it's a band. You know. And it was such a powerful impact as far as when we come together as 4, then we're creating this, you know, sound and music. it also could relate to the idea of a quadra as like a playing field, which is a square, and basically each person is born in their own quadra, you know, and their own set of rules and certain things that you abide by, and they may be different from somebody else's quadra, but it's a matter of getting along together within our world, even though we're born in these different quadras. And so we have this concept, and it can go deep, you know, it can go even deeper than that. But it's the idea of this coin that's kind of like a Roman coin, and just the idea that, you know, a lot of people are connected, no matter what, born into the idea of money, you know, that concept of where you cannot get away from. You needed to eat, you needed to live, to survive. You know?
I think that's basically what capital enslavement is about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, one of my favorites from the album.
Right.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
That, you know, that powerful riff there. You know,
Right.
it's basically not, it's not happy, but it's so fucking powerful. It's,
Yeah, man.
It's working really
it's
great.
something that no matter, you know, you're born into this world and you're born into that concept, you know, but it's up to us to really respect each other's quadras that we're born in, and to really learn about that and communicate it, because you can't expect everyone to be the same as you are. I mean, it's just impossible.
Yeah. And of course, if everybody, you know, agreed with everybody, there's, you know,
Right.
no diversity in that moment.
Exactly, and it's about, you know, a lot of it has to do with that respect of diversity. You know, respect the fact that that person is different. You know, living from a different quadra, a different sector.
Yeah. Also, I read some quote from you where you basically, I don't remember the whole quote, but it basically started that you were talking about basically disconnection of people from the nature, and this really kind of, you know, kind of caught my heart, because it's kind of on the same vibe with me. Maybe expand on this idea, and maybe does it kind of, you know, revolve around, you know, your veganism, because I know that you're a vegan. Do you know, think of it also with the music as a whole concept?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain things that I realized from growing up. I stopped eating meat at 15, and it just grew into a more of an understanding of wanting to understand, what am I putting in my body? Where am I putting my money? Who am I supporting? You know, these questions. So I always look at it when I'm talking to people and they're like, oh, why are you a vegan? Is it for the animals? I love animals, you know. I myself would not want, I'm not in the position where I have to go out and kill. I live in the city like the majority of people that I know. And so the lifestyle that we've known of eating animals or killing has just grown so much where it's unsustainable. And it's gotten to a point where it's overconsumption. And so for me, the problem is that this overconsumption and the lack of understanding and education that people have behind these companies that they support. These companies being the agriculture companies that are creating the meat and everything. These companies are blinding the public from what they actually do, which is a scary concept, because they've been doing this for a long time, masking with certain propaganda and things like that. But you have to question that, like, why would I support a company where they're not letting me see what they're creating and what I'm putting in my body? And a lot of the problems that people are having with certain cancers and certain diseases are stemming from the food that they're eating, because it's so polluted, it's so fabricated. And so in that sense, you know, I think a lot more people are turning towards the idea of a plant-based lifestyle, because they're having so many of these issues and problems, and it's all stemming from their lifestyle and what they're eating. I mean, I think it's great when people can stop, let's say 1 day a week, let's try not to eat meat. That's for me, I'm cheering that on. I'm not like, oh, you need to change your entire life every day. You know, I don't think that's realistic. I think, for me, I think people have to slowly make their own changes, and I think every little bit helps. But for me, it's 100%. I just want to really answer the questions that people may have about the whole plant-based lifestyle, but I feel fantastic from doing it. I also feel that it helps a lot with a lot of people's perception of what world we're living in. You know, I don't want to give any money to any of these companies, because they don't care about you. They don't care about your health. you know, and they don't care about the planet, and they don't care about the animals, and that is our future. You know, we've learned so much from humans, from animals, you know, because they are extremely intelligent. They've been here longer than we have, and so we need that connection. You know, it's something that every other species on this planet has a connection with each other, and somehow we're the only ones that create trash. You know, out of a billion different species that exist on this planet. And it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And we keep thinking like, oh, we're so smart, we're so great, but we still cannot, we're losing that connection that every other species has that's able to keep this planet going. And without the fresh water, without these certain things that exist in our world, we don't exist as humans.
Yes. That's true. It's like we are on a downward spiral and nobody's seeing it.
Right.
You know.
But I mean, people, it's popping up because you know, it's coming back. You know, it's gonna affect everyone eventually. Yeah,
but you said a really interesting idea, because for me, I've started Plantbased like 4 months ago, and basically the guy who inspired me to do that was John Joseph from Chromax.
Yeah.
And his book Meat is for Pussies.
Yeah.
which is fucking. If you don't read it,
read it.
It's fucking.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Yeah. Really awesome book.
Yeah.
And. In that book, there was a really nice idea. There was like no violence on the plate.
Right.
Basically, this idea, thanks to this idea, I kind of realized, okay, food has a story.
Yeah.
Everything has a story.
Absolutely.
What you see right here has a long story.
Yeah, and it's a brutal story.
It's a brutal story, and it's what I was kind of, you know, starting to realize. And also one also really good point that you point out, it's not about, you know, just all be vegans, you know, don't eat meat. I have a similar analogy with the alcohol. If you're basically drinking every day and you stop for one day, you're doing a little bit of good, but you're basically not making a difference for yourself. But if you switch it and you drink for just one day in a week, and then you're taking care of yourself, then you're making a big fucking difference, and still you have your meat or alcohol, or whatever, your vice.
Right. No, that's a very good point. You know, the overconsumption of many things in our lives is it's something that we can all change. You know, it's not. I'm not, you know, putting myself on a pedestal. There's things that I would like to change in overconsumption as well. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go. One final thing I want to talk about with you. You and MMA and Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, I mean, for me,
basically, what is your connection? I kind of, you know, I'm a musician. I kind of understand the whole picture of it. But what is your connection to martial arts?
I mean, my connection isn't that strong with Jiu-Jitsu, but the culture of Brazil is. Being there, surrounded by that a lot. I've always been an athlete from a very young age, as far as training and doing things as far as not jiu-jitsu, but I did study some martial arts and boxing as well, and Thai boxing while in Brazil, and it was phenomenal. I learned so much about discipline, which I already had from doing other sports like football and wrestling, and it just kind of tied in together. You know, I like the concept of sports and of working with the team and trying to achieve something. It's something that a lot of people may not have experienced, but it's very powerful, and it helps you in other aspects of your life. You know, having that discipline, you know, waking up and working out and doing certain things that are mentally helpful, you know, not only physically, but mentally, you know, have that clear mindset. And so for me, I always admire the jiu-jitsu guys and the people that I met in Brazil, because they're all about that idea of focus and discipline and healthy lifestyle, especially mentally, you know, clearing your mind of all the garbage that's put into it throughout the day. But this is something I respect and admire very much so.
Yeah. Awesome. So, my friend from RPRECORDS, who is a friend of your ex-wife, he basically told me, he asked me if I ask you this question. He's organizing an MMA fight, because MMA fighting is kind of on a rise.
Right.
Thanks to a whole other things. Easy Prokaska mostly right now. And he's organizing an exhibition fight, and he would like to invite you there. For possibly fighting, if you want. We don't need an answer right now, but you know, just think about it. I think you're gonna hear about it.
I mean, I've done some like benefit fight boxing in Brazil with a world champion, two-time world champion.
Really?
Popo. is his name, and that was terrifying. But the thing is, I have to say, from sparring and everything, the reason why I really stopped is because of my jaw and the fact that I wouldn't be able to sing if something would happen. So that was when I did get hit from this 2-time world champion. It was terrible because I was like, wow, my jaw was close to being broke. You know, he was no joke, and I was like, it was 2 rounds, and I was like, come on, he just didn't want to look bad. But I started to worry, and I was like, I can't afford to not be able to speak or to talk or to affect my voice in that way. So I'm a little bit
job talks in that moment. Yeah. Okay, so at the final end of the interview, I would like to invite here your son, if possible, and have a little interview with him and with your wife also. Tak, jenom ještě závěrem bych tady rád v interview přivítal Derrickovu rodinu. Tak, měli jsme s Derrickem úplně úžasný interview. Děkuji ti moc, že jsi to domluvila.
Jasně.
A řekněte mi něco o tátovi.
Tak, co bychom řekli, no. Chyběl nám. A chybělo nám hlavně v té covidové době celkově prostě, že ty kapely prostě nemohly vystupovat. Díky tomu vlastně jsme se s Derrickem neviděli, že jo. Jsem si neviděl několik let, takže tím trpíme. Prostě.
Chápu. Helejte, nebudu vás dál okrádat o váš rodinný čas. Děkuji moc, že jste zprostředkovali tohle interview. Derrick, thank you very much for providing me 20 minutes of your time. Have a great show. I'm really looking forward to it. First time seeing Spultura is gonna be fucking awesome. Wow. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye.
Ahoj.
Bej se tam, kde stojíš.